This is a Seawall and dock inspection in a property in North Miami Beach in Eastern Shores. And on the top part of the seawall you can see this is ground about 4 feet away from the seawall, which shows you can see how far the stainless prong goes in. So there's soft spots along the seawall. This retaining wall separating both properties is cracking due to the retaining wall is settling into the ground. Walking down, there's quite a few spots where there's soft, like right here, right in the corner, next to the stairway coming up. You can see here erosion is happening in low areas. Right here, the ground is also very soft next to this pond. Look how far down I can put the prong in. Again, you can see the pavers are collapsing here because of erosion. Very clear to see. Right here is a sinkhole due to erosion from the seawall part. And you can see the property length is about 105 linear feet. It's an H-pile slab structure with a retaining wall addition, which is what this part is. And you can see how it's buckling outward towards the canal, starting to buckle and move because of the soil pushing on this part of the seawall. Now we're going to go into the water portion of this inspection. We're going to begin the inspection on the south part of the seawall and work our way northwards. We're going to look at the dock as well. The pilings from just previous inspection just before we got started shows that the pilings are good. The dock seems to have good wooden pilings. As you can see, there are a few weeping holes right there. There's one, but there's no valve or anything that allows discharge. So when the rains come, water and soil will be lost through those holes. Definitely recommend to put a jet valve system on the seawall. And you can see the radiuses are completely separated away from the seawall from the H piling. And you can see right here on the retaining wall it's cracking and it's buckling right here. It was an attempt at repairing it. And this is all due to having water pressure behind the seawall. They put one drain there with a 4-inch pipe, but there's no way to filter soil there because it's just an open pipe. Right now we're at low tide, which is a perfect time for this kind of inspection. There's about 4 feet on top of the tide that is in the water right now. I'm going to jump in. Okay, we're going to go to this seawall is probably about 35 to 40 years old, more or less the time that this canals were dredged and built. This is the border of the property, and you can see right there, again, another crack in the retaining wall, and it's all soil on the other side, so there's a lot of pressure on it. It's separated right here. You can see the separation from the cap, which was probably not bound white. Right here is a good example of a radius that is just completely off the wall, and if I'll do this, you can see it's going to fall. So it's not containing any soil. And the bottom, you see that white soil at the bottom is basically erosion happening. You can see the H-pile. You can see the groove here. All this is areas where soil just pushes through from the land side and empties out the lot. And this seawall is definitely in need of some maintenance. Right here you can see there's a diagonal crack in the slab and another longitudinal one that adjacents it, that connects to it. Right here you can see there's an attempt at making some kind of filter in there, but it feels very much like it's not. First of all, it's too small and too little. Each one of these slabs should have at least a 4-inch hole with a weeping hole because of the way the property was raised on the other side. So that's one, and it's insufficient. And right here you can see there's no radius. Inspect the bottom. You very clearly see that there's no radius, and there's a heap of sand on the bottom, which is basically the sediment getting pushed through. The tieback cover is still in a good condition. On the H piling there's a longitudinal crack, and there's another one here. If the seawall is going to be jet cleaned, then you'll see the cracks much better. Right here is corrosion because of some rebar that was lifted. And there's a hole, weep hole, that was blocked. So there used to be a weep hole, but probably with no valve on it, so they just get completely stuffed with time. Right here you can see there's a lot of erosion from this piling. If you look, you can see all the white heap, and you can see the gap. And what happens now is really sediment is lost on the other side, and there's just nothing to stop it from keep on going. The radius is not there, and there's no way to discharge. There's just a pipe here, and you can see it's all loose, and there's even crabs living in there, and that probably, when it rains, will it would shoot out sand and water, and not just water, which is what's supposed to do. Again, radiuses are all in bad condition and are separating. Like right here, you can see how brittle it is. New radiuses are definitely in need. Right here, you can see what happens when you try and make a weep hole in the old system, and it's very much not functional. Right here again, we can see on the bottom erosion coming through the H-pile corner, and you can see how I could just stick the scraper right behind it. So that means definitely not containing water. Not gonna do anything else. You can see along the slab, there's also sediment coming out underneath the footer. So probably a good idea to take down some riprap bags and create a bottom weight to hold any erosion coming underneath the slab. I'm going to shoot the length of it so you can see it. I'm sure you could see the way the ground elevates, as there's a lot of earth that has seeped underneath the slab, and especially around this corner of the radius. So that needs to be treated as soon as possible. And there's definitely signs of erosion. You can see here too. Look at the way the ground grades here, with all this white sand that is basically filled from the other side of the seawall, and it's all coming through and eroding from the other side, which causes the seawall to get weaker. And you can see the seawall is already leaning. There's already a certain angle going into the canal, so under pressure. Needs to have a pressure relief system put in it, and this system here that was put, that is not a system, it's just cloth, and you can see how blocked it is. It's completely blocked with stones, and there's a hairline cracks coming out of that area. Again here, no radius. Again, erosion underneath the slab, and definitely around the corners of the H pilings. Again, horizontal cracks on the slab itself, hairline cracks, and diagonal all throughout the slab, and you can see the bottom. Very clear to see the erosion area because it's that lighter sand that is the fill sand. Right here there's no radius, only on the top, which is basically not doing anything. Right here we have a piece of rebar sticking from the cap, an old piece of rebar that should have been cut and fixed. Again, another one of those attempts at making a weep hole method, which probably is not functioning. And again here, cracks on the slab. These are all hairline cracks, and right here you can see rust bleeding. This tieback head is completely open and should have been concreted and filled by the person who built this, but it wasn't done. Don't know why, but that's again creating corrosion, and that anchor is more will get damaged. Right here you can see again the scraper going behind the radius. The radius is too small and hollow, not functioning. Same condition here. Let's look at the slab, bottom footer. This entire section has opening on the bottom, and it really does need to have some kind of footer weight to prevent erosion from underneath, because that's just because there's no drainage. It's just pushing from underneath the seawall every time it rains strong. This H-piling, one has a damaged rebar right on top of it, and you can see how it's cracking, and these are big cracks. And this is probably part of the tieback right here, so it needs to be chiseled and packed with the hydraulic concrete and reconditioned. And so are the radiuses, obviously. Let's look at the bottom of the footer again. This slab is right now suspended in mid-air. There's nothing stopping erosion from underneath it. This area is also one of the areas that shows erosion on the top part, so it's very clear that containment needs to be arranged here. Right here, again, the radiuses are gone, and you can see at the bottom, this is the last section, the northmost part of the property seawall, and you can see also the erosion underneath the footer. This is the border of the property. This is the last piling that they share between themselves. You see the crack here between the two chaps. That's kind of not unusual. And then big crack inside the H-pile, and that needs to be repaired. There are on the property 1, 2, 3, 14 or 15 H-piles. I gotta count them again, but they all need to be worked on and reconditioned, and then all these hairline cracks. The seawall is still in relatively okay condition. It still has some life in it, but it needs a way to drain the water and to stop the erosion coming from underneath the seawall, as very clearly shown here. Structurally, it's still sound. However, I don't know how long the life of those tiebacks is going to maintain the anchoring point. That's why it's essential to create a good filtering system to the seawall, so it will not build any pressure behind it. The dock condition, which we will measure after the survey, lumber seems good. Probably will need a good top coat. Person who did the dock did the proper thing. They coated it with some kind of epoxy, or all the red heads that go into the concrete, and all the bolts, the galvanized bolts were coated, and the lumber is in good condition. So the dock is definitely sound and in good condition, good quality work, using 3x6s and 2x6s as cross supports, and lumber is in good condition. No need to do any work on the dock. The dock is good. Again, there's the issue of the retaining wall that would need to be contained, and then filtration system and new radiuses are definitely recommended, and the damage is very clear. This completes our survey on this property. The survey was conducted by SeaMeDive in Eastern Shores, Florida on the 16th of July 2014. Thank you.